Entering the atmosphere in T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by my friends and yours, Doomino Crossing, Dakota Lasky. Gentlemen, how are you?
My forehead is on fire, but you know what? We're still here. We're still podcasting today. And so you know what? The fact that I got to wake up, I consider that a good day if you ask me.
That's the kind of positivity we need.
And you know what? Speaking of wake up, I can finally sleep on my back again for the first time since getting my tattoo a week ago now. And let me tell you, I am never taking that for granted ever again. It's one of those things you never really consider before getting your first tattoo. But yeah, that's definitely worse than the actual process itself. And I'm very happy that I can sleep normally again. It feels good.
There you go. I'm actually also, I felt a little bit under the weather for the last couple of days here. So, Dak, I hope that you are bringing the healthy vibes into the show today.
As far as I know, I'm healthy. I've been seeing and hearing people talk about this big flu that's been going around. And I've been hesitant to say anything about it because I have avoided it so far. And I fear that the second I'm like, yeah, I'm healthy, I'm super good, I'm fine, the next day I'm going to wake up and not be fine. So, but yeah, I've been healthy. I just got off a rousing game of golf with your friends before the show, so I got some energy. I spent my past weekend doing a lot of sim racing. There's a 24-hour endurance race this coming weekend in iRacing that me and my roommate were going to do. It would be 12 hours of driving each. It seems like we're not going to do it anymore, but we were practicing for it this past weekend, so I did like 3 or 4 2.5-hour races. Which I enjoyed a lot. So really enjoyed driving the LMP3 cars at Daytona. So
what was that track from like the Gran Turismo movie where like they race 24 hours? It was like it's in France, like Le Mans. Le Mans, yes.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of a cool part of that. Actually, you know what? I think that Gran Turismo movie was actually like pretty decent for what it was.
It was okay. It wasn't a horrible movie. It wasn't amazing. And then if you watch the F1 movie, the beginning of that, Brad Pitt is doing the 24 Hours of Daytona, which is the event this weekend. So I'll probably be watching the real version over the weekend. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Love doing that. And I'm also prepping for my Royal Rumble party, which I'll be hosting for the end of the month. That's 3 Saturdays from now. So I'm getting ready to host a banger for that. And yeah, that's what's been going on with me.
Nice. I might skip Rumble this year. I might do it.
I understand why you might do that.
Yeah.
I also saw Marty Supreme this past weekend, the Timothée Chalamet movie, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars out of 5 from me. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It was very enjoyable.
I have no idea what that's about, but I've heard nothing but great reviews.
It's
about
like
that movie.
This dude plays ping pong. It's supposed to be awesome.
It's like ping pong. I mean, I hate to make this comparison because I feel like a lot of other people have. It's kind of reductive, but it's similar. I believe it's from the same directors who did Uncut Gems, or one of the directors who did that.
Really?
So it has similar, like, that high-strung, paranoid, obsessive character vibes that Uncut Gems has. So if you enjoyed that movie, which that's one of my favorite movies, I think you would enjoy this with a little bit of a sports twist, and like it takes place in like the 50s. All the performances were really good. So I watched a bunch of movies this past weekend. I watched the new Jurassic World movie with Scarlett Johansson, which was, it was a new Jurassic Park movie. I watched the Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks, which is a great rewatch.
Was that your rewatch?
No, I've seen that many times.
Okay.
And then I went and saw Marty Supreme, which I enjoyed a lot.
Nice. I got to the theaters myself this weekend actually, and I was actually thinking about Metroid when I went because I went and saw Avatar finally.
Oh Jesus!
And I mean, good movie. Like I feel like I know what I'm gonna get when I go see Avatar. But I was looking at this. I was looking at Pandora, and I was thinking, it's like, man, this planet is really something. Vuros is no Pandora, is it?
I saw that as well in theaters, and I couldn't wait for that movie to be over, man. I could not. It was like halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh, there's another like 4 hours left. I was dying to get out. I was so over it.
I love me some Big Jim long movies that he makes. So I had a good time. My brother-in-law, I think, fell asleep for a little bit.
I was ready to fall asleep, honestly.
He did. We looked over at him, and he was his eyes were closed, his mouth was open. I was like, gonna put like my straw down his throat and see if he woke up, but
Well, I don't know. All right, I don't know about that, but I think, not to get into too of a movie review podcast here, but a friend of mine's a really big fan of James Cameron. I like James Cameron movies, but he's a really big Avatar fan, and I feel like the first movie had like the novelty of like the 3D, and then the second movie had like the novelty of like
the water,
the crazy water physics and the graphics, yeah.
yeah.
And this movie didn't have like anything. It already, you know,
I would agree.
The 3D's,
Yeah.
3D's already been there. I've already seen the water, and like the story is like so much of it is similar to the previous movie. So
I kind of thought that they'd be going to like a new like
I
area
wanted to be.
of,
I want them
you
to
know?
be in like a volcano the whole time. And
Yeah,
we're just
yeah,
back at
that's
the water
kinda what I
area,
thought.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was pretty let that. Not that I had high expectations for it, but I was pretty over the movie pretty quickly through it. And I'd seen the other movies multiple times. This one I do not plan to watch again. So yeah.
There you go.
I saw the first Avatar, and I feel like I kind of got my fill after that, and I never really went out of my way to see the sequels after that. So I don't really have any opinions on that.
The second one is really cool.
I think the second one's okay. I think if you watch the first one, like the second one is different-ish enough, I think, where it won't feel like a retread. But then if you watch the third one right after, you're gonna feel like you just watched more of the second movie, I think.
I kind of had the same, like, as stupid as this sounds, I was expecting Fire and Ash to not be like, it's a sequel to The Way of Water, which, like, I mean, but it's like a direct sequel to it.
It feels like just more of the second movie. Like
Yeah,
they just took
it
the
feels like
second
that
movie
movie
and
was-
chopped it in half.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like, I mean,
Gotcha.
for, like, Doom, I'm saying you should see it just, like, visually, like, it looks really cool.
Yes, it does look very nice, especially if you've only seen the first one. Like,
Yeah.
the second one is really visually very stunning. But if you want a bit more
Okay.
substance to your movies, you're not going to find it there.
I mean, I can appreciate, like, you know, a good visual effects showcase. I don't need every single movie to be, you know, an Oscar winner.
That's fair.
You know, I like phenomenal movies. I like decent movies. I even like slop movies.
Well, I
In fact,
love bad movies. I love
Yeah.
bad movies. I think for me, when I saw it, it was like I had just seen it was like the same weekend where I finished Metroid Prime 4. I saw Avatar and I watched Stranger Things season 5, and all of it together was like, there's too much slop, too much. I can't. I need to experience
slop
something
overload.
You
Real. It was
need,
slop
well,
overload.
you need to
One-
fire
so-
up the 1993 classic on
Oh, and
Blu-ray.
yeah, I'm just gonna cut. I'm
The
gonna cut
Super
you
Mario
off right here.
Bros.
No,
please
movie
cut him off.
starring
need
Bob
this.
Hoskins
No,
and John
no.
Leguizamo.
No, I'm sorry. So what I will say is I did see recently. It came out last year technically, but I did finally get around to seeing K-pop Demon Hunters. That movie is not slop. That movie's a great time. I definitely would recommend that, regardless whether or not you're a K-pop fan. I believe the same animators that did the Spider-Verse movies.
It's the exact same movie
did
as
it.
Spider-Verse. Just it's
Yeah, and-
it's the exact same movie. I watched like a couple minutes and I can't say I was too impressed, but I'm sure maybe if you
We
watch
got
the
to
whole
do.
thing-
We still have to do our Omega Metroid movie night where Andy watches Saving Private Ryan. So
Well, we could do a double header. We'll do that, and then after you take your pick between the Mario Bros. Movie, maybe we could get Raul Julia Street Fighter. If you really want to get rambunctious, we could do an Uwe Boll House of the
we could
Dead.
do a Neil Breen movie. That's what we should do.
Wow.
You ever
All
watch
of
a
it.
Neil Breen movie?
What are some of his movies?
What a perfect palate cleanser for Saving Private Ryan. Neil Breen movie.
I agree. You've never seen Double Down. You never seen I Am Here Now. You never seen Twisted Pair. If anyone has watched a Neil Breen movie, please let me know in the comments or in Discord.
I don't know. I got nothing. Well,
I think you would really like it. I think you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, He's right. I think
You would
Neil Breen
really
is, like,
love
right
a
up your
Neil
alley.
Breen movie. Yeah.
Well, I'll try anything once. Okay. As much as we want to talk about movies and maybe not go back to the well and talk about Metroid Prime 4, we are indeed here to answer your questions about this game. But before we get there, we do have a couple of things that we should go over. And actually, we should start off with, I totally forgot about this, but the like Nintendo Wrapped came out today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it or not.
I did do my wrap today.
I just looked at it a couple minutes ago. I played a lot of Switch this year. I played 566 hours, and a lot of that was Hades 2, Silk Song, and Fire Emblem Three Houses. Did anything? You guys got stats?
I got some stats for you. I played 13 games and 186 hours in 2025.
Okay.
My top games were Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 74 hours, Mario Kart World at 27 hours, and Smash Ultimate at 19 hours. And apparently, my gaming style was 31% party, 25% racing, 18% action, and then it was adventure, shooting, and fighting from there. So that was, I'm Dak, and I like to party. I was playing a lot of Mario Kart 8 right before World came out, and then World came out, and I tried to force myself to enjoy it, and I couldn't, and then I stopped playing my Switch until Metroid Prime 4 came out, pretty much.
Yeah, you played more Mario Kart World than I did. I think I was looking at my stats, and I believe it showed 16 hours of Mario Kart
I was
World.
really trying to force myself to like that game, really trying.
Yeah, which
I
is
think
which
if
is
I
important. 'Cause
played
even
5 hours, I'd be stunned.
even 8 Deluxe on the Switch, because I feel like I played 8 on the Wii U a bit more, but even 8 Deluxe on the Switch, I have like 100 hours in that game, which is wild.
It's so good.
I think my most played game was Metroid Prime 4. A part of that was also because I was helping with the guide as well. I think I got 42 hours in that game so far,
Dude,
which is
I'm 70 hours
which
into
is
Metroid Prime 4. It's gross.
yeah, which is like double. Yeah, about double the time I actually spent like 100%ing the game. So that should tell you what that is right there. And then yeah, my most played game is still Metroid Dread. That was technically a part of my wrap because of the marathon earlier this year. I got an extra few hours added to that. I'm at almost 500 hours in Metroid Dread. So by far my most played Nintendo Switch game. If you have not played Metroid Dread for some reason, what are you doing? Go play Metroid Dread, please.
A good game, yeah. I had a lot of time in Silk Song. I had a lot of time in Hades 2. Super Nintendo emulator is like always a big one for me. I dabbled in Fire Emblem, Zelda, basically what you'd expect to see. A lot of Metroid Prime 4, obviously, and Metroid Prime for the marathon as well. So, yeah, that was out. Always kind of interesting to see what you've been playing. And speaking of playing, I am going to be replaying a game that we played for our Omega Metroid Marathon, and I am actually going to be replaying it for another marathon. For anybody that might remember, we had Elias Thompson of Metroid HQ, and Elias joined us for our marathon back in February. We raced Super Metroid, and I beat him. Shout out to you, Elias. And we did a run of Metroid Prime Federation Force together as well. So Elias runs Metroid HQ, and Metroid HQ-thon is going to be back. And I believe that this is like their 15th marathon that they're doing. So like they are consistent as consistent gets. And yours truly is going to be racing Nestroid on Sunday, the 18th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you want to come watch me play, you can come and do that. Metroid HQ-thon actually starts on the 14th. It's running from the 14th until the 18th, and it is in support of Child's Play Charity, which is just helping out children in need in the United States. So, very good cause. There's some pretty cool segments actually for this marathon as well. Like there's a couple giveaways. There's going to be, I don't even know what this is. It's called a Mother Brain Break with Jessica Aaron Martin, aka the voice of Samus from Metroid Other M. So that's going to be an exciting segment, I think. And there's definitely going to be a lot of speed runs. There's going to be some Metro. There's going to be 2 different Metro Prime 4 runs actually, if one is not enough for you. So yeah, come and join in Twitch.tv/Metroid HQ. And hey, we'll see if I can make a fool of myself playing Nestroid or not. No one else wanted to, so I said I would. So come and hang out.
All right.
There we go. Doom, we had some news that you wanted to, I guess, go over quickly as well, and I'm going to leave this up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually thank you for saying that because I almost forgot that until you said that. But yeah, there was some unfortunate news that came out today. Obviously, it's fairly normal in the video games industry to hear about closures, shutdowns, and layoffs. And unfortunately, we have another one today. But this one especially stuck out to me because Meta, who Zuckerberg owns Facebook, Instagram, obviously, they also own a few game studios now, and unfortunately, one of those. There were 3 studios that were shut down today. Sanzaru Games, Twisted Pixel, and the one that especially stood out to me was Armature Studios, which, for those who don't know, this was a studio that was founded by a lot of ex-Retro Studios talent about a year or two after Metroid Prime 3 Corruption came out. And mostly nowadays they do like a lot of ports, a lot of VR games, but they did a couple of, I don't want to say like notable high profile games, but like kind of definitely some interesting projects. They did the that 2D Batman Arkham game. I think it was Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate that they did. It was kind of like a 2D Metroidvania in the Batman Arkham verse. And then probably their biggest project was Recore, which is a game that I played and I thought it had a lot of really unique ideas, but not quite executed the best. Kind of like Metroid Prime 4 to a degree as well. But definitely a really interesting game that you can get pretty cheap, and I would recommend at least trying once because you can get it for like $5 nowadays. But yeah, it's really unfortunate just to hear. Obviously, anyone losing their jobs is really unfortunate, but especially from like a studio that like that I have like a really high attachment to, or at least with a lot of the personnel. So hearing that was just kind of a bummer. And so I want to give a shout out to Armature and all the staff from the other studios that got laid off today, and wishing you all the best.
Totally. Yeah, that's it sucks every time that you hear that, and you hear that definitely more than you'd like to in the video game space. So our thoughts are with them. Transitioning over to your fan questions. It has been a long ride. Metroid Prime 4 is out. The dust is settled. We got through the end of the game. We went over and we talked about some of our takeaways and feelings and thoughts from the Famitsu interview. I'm going to say like the infamous Famitsu interview now, because it really does seem like that. And now we're going to talk about your questions and what you want to know. So I totally forgot to make a post on Blue Sky, but we have a ton of questions on Spotify. We have a ton of questions on Discord. So apologies to everyone on Blue Sky, but we'll definitely do another Q&A episode soon. I'm going to preface this by just saying I had I was playing Metroid Prime 4 on hard mode the other night, and I got to Sylux, and I had to shut the game off. I don't know when I'm going to shut the game back or turn the game back on. I think that was it for me for like the while. I was playing the final boss and on hard mode. I've never claimed to be very good at Metroid games or any video games actually. So like I'm sure it's probably just a me skill issue, but like I died like 5 times in a row. And when I say I died, I didn't die. My squad mates did, and I was just like, oh my. So I'm gonna try and be as I think I've been the most charitable to this game on this show, but we're gonna see if that holds up for this episode. So without further ado, are you guys ready?
Ready to go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start off with a fun one. This made me smile. This is from Spotify. This is from King LA Clan or Clan. Sorry, I don't know. Hi guys, love the show. Just wondering who you guys would cast as the Federation troopers in the inevitable Miles McKenzie spin-off show. I would do Jesse Eisenberg as Miles, but I would love to hear your thoughts.
That's a great question.
There's only one right answer to this. You got to get the dude who played McLovin as Miles. Like, there's no
100%.
other answer. Other than that,
question.
so View, he just needs a celebrity voice. I feel like you could throw in like Idris Elba like doing his Sonic voice. That would totally fit. Or his Knuckles voice. I'm sorry. Yeah. Who could be the spiritual sniper? You need someone kind of cool for that.
Keanu Reeves.
Right?
Keanu Reeves would be good. Yeah. Keanu Reeves would be good.
He also does that thing where he slows down his talking, much like Takabe. I can see the vision.
I think we should go for some stunt casting here. I think we should get Kinosuke Takeshita to voice or to do Takabe. I would love to see that.
I unfortunately don't know who that is.
Former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kinosuke Takeshita.
This is going way
Doom
over
is
my
like,
head.
okay.
I'm like,
Armstrong. I don't know who are we. If you could pick anyone, Doom. This one's you. You got Doom or you got Duke and Armstrong.
Anne Hathaway.
I was thinking the same. I think she kind of has the look for it, but I don't know if she would be the right.
I think she's. I hate to say too old, but like I feel like Armstrong's like definitely like a rookie. You know.
That was just the first one that came to my head.
Anne Hathaway is awesome. That would be a great
I could
pick.
see like Amelia Clark doing that role.
Okay,
yeah. You know what? I could probably see that.
Maybe
I could see. Oh my god.
Lily Collins.
Lily
She could be
Collins would be
good.
great. Lily Collins
Lily
reminds
Collins.
me a lot of Anne Hathaway. Actually, every time. So
does,
Sam
yeah.
is a big Emily in Paris fan, so like we're almost at the end, and
I mean, I'm very clearly looking at my other monitor, looking at faces and names, but I'm just like, I think that would be a good fit, perhaps.
I think we shoot for the stars, and we really break the budget and get Denzel Washington to play Duke.
Denzel as Duke would be hype.
That would be. I think Denzel's like one of the best actors ever. I'm not gonna lie. I can't think of a bad Denzel movie.
You know what? Michael B. Jordan just gave the performance of a lifetime in Sinners. Let's bring him back one more time.
That would be good too. That would be good.
Okay.
The only pushback I have, I feel like you maybe need someone older, a little bit more grizzled. You know.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of the opposite of the Anne Hathaway casting, where it's like Michael B. Jordan might be a little too young, but I also just kind of don't care. He kind of just killed it. In that
why don't we
movie.
just gender bend it? Like we could have Anne Hathaway as Duke and Michael B. as Armstrong. I like it.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
That won't make anyone on the internet mad. Heck yeah, let's do that.
I don't. I'm probably. You guys are probably gonna laugh at me. Someone said Scott the Woz as Miles. Who was Scott the Woz?
He's a YouTuber.
I see it. I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. I don't watch a lot of YouTube. If I'm being honest, is this guy a geek?
Yeah.
World's biggest Wii U fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of his thing.
Okay. Well, there you go. All right.
Oh,
well,
I got one. I think, for view. What is it? How do you pronounce it? Is it
I
view or
say view, but I think it might be view. I don't know. I just say view.
So so he says view when he's introduced. He says view 955.
I see.
Okay, I would say Mike Staklasa for view, and Rich Evans as Miles McKenzie. Boom.
Who is Rich Evans? Who is Mike? Who are these people? Give me a point of reference.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
I'll just say for view, Clancy Brown, one of my favorite voice actors of all time.
Okay.
I'll do view. I'll be view. I cast myself.
John Leguizamo as view.
No. We cast Andy off the show is what we do.
Can I leave now?
Okay, here's what. I know this wasn't part of the question, but who would play as Sylux? Who would be Sylux?
Well, it doesn't
Willem
matter because
Dafoe,
he's not
obviously.
showing up until like the last 5 minutes.
No, I know, but someone's got to play him. Who plays Sylux?
Willem Dafoe. I remember I gave that answer on a Q&A a
No,
while
not
ago, and I'm
Willem
sticking with it.
Dafoe. I don't think
I'm sticking
Willem
with it.
Dafoe
we
fits
need
at all.
we need more to make an informed decision about this. But
I don't think so. I think someone's got. I mean, someone did play him in the game, right? So like, someone's got to play him.
Well, geez, I don't
Pick
know.
somebody. Come on. Let's maybe What about the guy who plays Homelander?
No, that's not
I don't
right.
know.
Um,
Yeah, I like Anthony, but he's not the right fit for Sylux. I say that as if I didn't just say Willem Dafoe.
Okay,
but
okay. Here's another one. What about the guy who plays? Who's ever watched Lost?
I've watched Lost.
The guy, the Ben from Lost. You know,
He could
other,
be Miles McKenzie's
he
dad.
could be Miles. Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
What about I don't know, a little who
Guy
just
who plays Voldemort. I don't know.
he's busy with James Bond. We could maybe we
He's
could
also
get,
busy with 28 Years Later. He was in that new Bone Temple movie, which I heard was very good.
that is correct. Yeah. Maybe we could pull Timothy Chalamet out.
Timothy Chalamet as Sylux. That is a inspired casting choice.
I mean,
agree.
why not? We're rolling out the big bucks for this Miles
Big
spinoff
movie,
because
big
we
movie.
know that the box office is going to be there to justify it. So.
I think you're right.
Here's a bonus question for you guys. I'll weigh in on this as best as I can as well. But they also said, like, I'm playing through the Halo franchise for the first time, and I know Dak and Doom are into it. So I was wondering how you guys would rank the Halo franchise. So really quickly, why don't you give
It's a Metroid show here, man.
Well, I mean, we're talking Avatar, we're talking Chalamet.
We should be sticking to Metroid questions, but I mean, for me, it's Halo 3,
let's throw a
Halo
bone.
2, Halo 3, Halo 2, ODST 1, Reach. Though maybe you could intersperse those, and then the other ones. Halo 3 is my favorite one, though. Halo 3 is also my favorite game of all time. So.
I'm also gonna put Halo 3 at number 1. I'm gonna do Combat Evolved for number 2. I'm gonna do Reach, then Halo 2, then ODST.
That's crazy to put 2 that
and
low.
then
That's crazy.
I love 2. The thing with 2 is I didn't play it until years later. Like I didn't play it until Master Chief Collection.
That's
Whereas
fair.
Halo 3 and 1 I played like pretty much when they came out.
I think Halo 2 is objectively the better game, but I like Halo 3 more.
Here's my
Halo,
power ranking.
Halo
I played
3.
Go ahead, dude. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say Halo 3 like ranks so high for me because of the multiplayer and because of the Forge mode specifically. Like that was just so revolutionary. That was like genuinely like revolutionary at the time. Like nothing like that, at least at a console level, had never been done before. And like the fact that it all worked as well as it did, as well with the file sharing feature and like those social options, like it felt like a game came from the future, at least in terms of its multiplayer.
Okay, Andy, what's yours?
I'm gonna take 2 and then Reach and then 1 and then 3. However, that's not
crazy.
That's not a slate against 3. I thought all of them were pretty good actually. But for context, like I played them all kind of like back to back. I didn't play multiplayer, just the campaign. So
Oh well, if we're going just by campaign, that's different. But we're talking about the whole games. That's also different. Okay, Metroid questions
that's what
only.
I'm talking about. What's
Metroid questions only.
Halo question?
No, Metroid question only.
Sorry, I thought you wanted a. What about an Avatar
Metroid question only.
All right. This is from Connor. Connor Schmidt over on Spotify. He asks, what is your favorite Xenoblade Chronicles game, Dak? And can you... Okay, so he asks, I've been watching the show...
Xenoblade games.
I've been watching the show since the Super Metroid boss ranking episode, and I have 2 questions. 1... Where did you see the comment saying that someone came up for the idea for the Beyond title? Because it went on Apple Podcast reviews. That was my comment. For the record, it was Andy who said it. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I think it must have been. I was looking at a review or something like that and found it. So, wow, Connor, that was you. A good call. I guess that's not really a question, so let's move on to the next one. You're gonna love this, Dak. Do you think that the next open world Zelda game should take any cues from Prime 4? Example, a big central area with quests and shrines, and then side areas with dungeons and unique items. This is probably more a question for like the Zelda cast.
Isn't that just the Zelda game?
Yeah.
Like that's just a regular Zelda. That's a traditional Zelda game to me. Like that's Ocarina of Time. That's Majora's Mask.
It's more appropriate to say that like Prime 4 took cues from Zelda than the
right. But that's what I'm saying. If you were to make a Zelda game like Prime 4, you would just be making an old style Zelda game, which is the problem. Is that I don't want to. I like that. I love traditional Zelda games. I have Majora's Mask, one of my favorite games of all time. But when I want to play a Metroid game, I don't want to be playing a Zelda game. I want to play a Zelda game when I'm playing a Zelda game. I want to play a Metroid game when I'm playing a Metroid game. So I don't want them. No more taking cues from each other. How about we do what the series are good on their own? And the fact that Metroid took so much apparently from Breath of the Wild is the big problem with the game. And so I would hate for
That's
them.
not the big problem. The big problem with the game is that
It's
they
one
didn't
of the
implement
one
it
of the
very
big
well.
problems.
That's the problem.
It's one of the big problems with the game. Well, okay, but that's why they implemented it in the first place. Was Breath of the Wild? They cited specifically.
Sure, but
Anyway.
like, you could say like games take from other games all the time. Like you have to do it well if you're gonna do
Yeah,
it.
yes, but yes, sure.
Yeah.
But I still blame Breath of the Wild.
Wow. Okay. Okay, that's he has two quick ones here, so let's just go over Connor's questions. Why do we have to go with the interview's timeline placement? Why can't we just agree that they either lied or made a mistake and agree the true canon placement is after Federation Force? Or how can you explain the timeline discrepancy? Well, like, you can do whatever you want. You can think whatever you want, but like, I mean, if someone from Nintendo was saying this is where it took place, like, that's where it took place, unless they retcon it.
That's the thing, is that like, I think the problem I have with it is that it wasn't like Nintendo put out a timeline and said this is where the game takes place. They put out official materials like this is where the game takes place. It comes from an uncredited person from the development team who may or may not be Tanabe. That's my only problem with it. Obviously, in my head, I know that the game should take place after Federation Force, but if Nintendo comes out and says, like, on Nintendo Twitter or whatever, they put out an official timeline and that's where they put it, and maybe they've already done that. I don't know if they have. Then I'd be like, all right, I guess that's where it takes place. That's stupid and they're wrong, but I guess that's where it takes place. My problem is that this information comes from an uncredited person on the development team. If it was a bit more official, I think I'd be able, maybe I wouldn't be able to stomach it more, but I wouldn't be fighting back so much on it. Like, the fact that that comes from an uncredited person from a single interview, to me, is not strong enough evidence to say that's where it takes place. But I guess then you could say, well, the beginning of the game says it takes place in the year after Super Metroid. I'm like, okay, I think I'm at this point assuming, or to me, it's more so that is apparently when the game takes place. It's stupid and dumb and wrong, and they were wrong for doing it. But yeah.
If anything, it feels like kind of the issue that we had with the Dread reports leading up to Dread, but exasperated substantially so. Because at least the Dread reports were like these kind of like official kind of advertisements and printouts for the game, whereas this is like a random Japanese-only interview that really we only know about because it was fan translated.
Well, to be fair, it's not a random. It was in Famitsu, which is a very well-known magazine.
That's a pretty big deal, like, for Japanese media.
Yes, I agree with that, but the fact that it's uncredited, like, it could have been, and not that I think it was, but it could have been an intern on the team who doesn't know what they're talking about, for all I know. If it was a more official source, I would be maybe okay with it more.
Someone representing Nintendo in an official capacity gave this answer, so that it is what it is.
That's true.
We can disagree with it. You can have your theories about it. The problem isn't the timeline placement. That's totally fine. Like, it's just like the game doesn't follow up or give any explanation or rationalize. Like, you can put it there, but there are other things that probably need to be explained in order to make that make sense, and the game doesn't do that. That's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I still think there's a problem beyond that, but I do agree that's the core problem. If it could have taken place there, I mean, no, I still don't agree with that, because then it messes with the other games outside of Prime Force. So I still don't agree that that's where it taking place there is not the problem. But in my head, I guess at this point, like, it's different than Other M, because, like, Other M you can, like, just ignore, and, like, it doesn't actually have an impact on anything. I guess Prime 4 really doesn't either, if you really think about it. Like, anything that happens in Prime 4 doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess
we'll see what Prime 5 means, but, like, the only thing I can think of is, like, maybe the memory fruit that you plant on the first planet turns into something, but
I think the big problem with it is that their whole thing is like, oh, well, now the Prime series doesn't have to only take place between Metroid 1 and 2. But now that they've done this, does Prime 4, 5, and 6 not have to only take place between Super Metroid and Fusion? To me, I feel like they've put themselves in the exact same problem that they said they were trying to get rid of. That's why I don't even like that reasoning, because what are they going to do? Have Prime 5 between Fusion and Dread? That would make even less sense. So
I mean, it depends on when it takes place, obviously. But yeah, like the problem is that, like, the storytelling of Metroid Prime 4 just isn't very good, and it feels incomplete. Like, that is the root of all evil.
I think we also answered this question pretty solidly on the last episode and went into a bit more detail. So
Okay, we're gonna skip the rest of his questions because they're not. Yeah, we're gonna skip them. Let's go over to Discord here.
Sorry, bro.
This is from Lysager, and I know I am blanking on Lysager's name here, so forgive me. But this is an interesting question, and it's a bit of a long one, so stay with me. Are Metroid games linear? As I understand the term linear, Prime 1 and Super, the most, and most Metroid games for that matter, could be considered linear because progression is gated by items and there's a general order that the items need to be retrieved in order to allow you to progress. You can go other places, but you will inevitably hit a wall where you cannot progress anymore without getting a specific item. Obviously, Super has a great deal of skips that can be done, so I guess I'm asking more in terms of game design intent. I see a lot of complaints about Prime 4 being linear, but I'm thinking these criticisms may be better categorized as being an issue with level design instead of linearity. The linear nature of Prime 1 and other Metroid games is hidden behind the level design and frequent travel between areas. You know what? I think that's like a fair statement. It's like, but those other games just like hide it a lot better. So maybe it goes down easier. But like you are right. Like there is like, if you're playing Metroid Fusion or you're playing Super Metroid, like you cannot go to certain areas without certain items, which, to be honest, is like even an argument. I feel like that, you know, a lot of people are saying like Metroidvanias and open world don't kind of mesh together, and I think that still applies even to an open world game. But like, I think that like the problem with Metroid Prime 4, why it maybe feels a little bit more egregious, is just because like, you really do just go to the area once and you go through it and you're kind of done. And even the levels themselves, like I think we all might agree that Metroid levels are at like a really, they're kind of at their best when they feel like a little bit of a maze to an extent, and you can't really say that about these levels. It feels like a Halo game in a lot of ways, like a Halo campaign, which isn't bad. Like there's times like when that works for an area. Like not every area needs to be a big labyrinth, but when it's like repeatedly the same thing, I think that's when you maybe start to see some pushback against that.
Yeah, I mostly agree with this. I do think Super Metroid is a game that I would not classify as linear, just because there is so much different tech that you can use in that game, whether intentional or not, in order to have a completely different experience in terms of your path and your traversal. Like there's a couple of general bullet points that are going to be consistent regardless, but there's a ton of different ways that you can utilize to make that experience unique. So Super Metroid I actually wouldn't classify put in that linear category, but I would say yeah, most Metroid games are inherently linear, including all three of like the mainline Metroid Prime games. And in that sense I do agree. It's less of a linearity issue in Prime 4 and more of a level design issue, because yeah, that's my biggest criticism with the level design. It's that the maps don't really loop back in on themselves. There's no real feeling of interconnectivity. Every level just kind of feels like a giant corridor that you're going from point A to point B. And in the case of Flare Pool, a literal corridor from point A to point B in that case.
Yeah.
So that would be more my biggest issue with Prime 4, not that it's inherently linear.
I think also, because I think that these things are also getting conflated. Like, yes, I do agree that previous games, there are situations outside of sequence breaking where you can go in a slightly different order. And so in that way, it's not linear. And then, yes, the other games kind of have you looping back through the world in multiple times, so it's hidden better. Yes. I think also the nature of Metroid games, like the best Metroid games, like you're meant to get lost a little bit. So you always kind of create your own non-linearity because you're getting lost and trying to figure it out. Whereas this game, you really can't get lost. And like Andy, I agree, like with other games, you're going to areas multiple times. You're not going to an area once and that's it. I think also there's a lot more stuff off the beaten path in previous Metroid games. I think that's where some of the non-linearity stuff also really flourishes and kind of defines itself for Metroid, is that in previous games you are going off the beaten path to get upgrades or get whatever it is way more often, and you're going a lot farther. So in a lot of ways you can have this more non-linear path because you're making more choices of how far you're going to go, what you're going to go to, etc. Whereas with Prime 4, when you're looking for like expansions or upgrades, you really are not going very far off the main path. And in many cases, the one time you do go back to a level once, you're going there once, getting everything, and then you're done. So yeah, it does go back to level design, but I do think there is that inherent non-linearity that's created by the game experience itself beyond just level design, where you might be able to do things slightly differently, or you are getting lost that Prime 4 also does not have, and that just makes it way more apparent too. So I think it is a multifaceted issue for sure, and because that depth isn't there for Prime 4, it's so much more apparent. I think also, I mean, yeah, the level design. I mean, there's so many just like straight hallways in Prime 4. Whereas with like Metroid Prime, like you have a lot more branching paths. So even if it's not necessarily evident to you that you're going in a linear way, you can get lost and make these choices which way you want to go. Prime 4, you're almost always know exactly direction you need to go without fail.
I think the other like really quickly, just to put a bow on this too, like I mentioned Metroid Fusion. I would say that's a very linear Metroid game, but like I also think it doesn't feel to me like as linear as maybe like Metroid Prime 4, just because it's more engaging with its like level design in general, and like you can explore. So yeah, I really don't have a problem with linearity. I think like all you guys are like right on the money with that.
Well, real quick though, I think, sorry, just to go back to Fusion because you mentioned it, because I love Fusion, and I've seen comments on like, well, if you like Fusion, you should like Prime 4, which I very much disagree with because I love Fusion and hate Prime 4. But I think what Fusion does really well is, in many cases, the game is telling you where to go, but it's not like specifically telling you where to go. It's like you're gonna go here and figure this out. Whereas Prime 4 is almost a lot of time like specifically telling you exactly where to go almost at all times. And in a lot of times with Fusion, like you almost have to go off the beaten path to get to where you need to go, without just going the way you think you need to go. And that never happens in Prime 4. So I think that is a big distinction between the two games.
Yeah, like I think that's fair. Like I think it does a linear style of Metroid game better than I think like Metroid Prime 4 does.
And certainly Fusion does tell you where exactly to go sometimes, but at other times some of the best parts is where it doesn't do that, and you kind of do have to figure it out, or you have like a general idea of where you have to go, but then a wrench gets thrown in, you have to go through the walls, or the place gets turned off and stuff like that. And with Prime 4, even when there is stuff like, oh, you got to turn this thing off, it's never taking you off the beaten path. You never really have to figure out like, okay, I know how to get to the destination, but how do I actually get from point A to point D? I don't know where point B's and C's are. Prime 4 gives you point A, B, C, and D all the way through.
Yep.
Let's move on. Let's go to a question from Metroda. This is a fun one. If a new Switch 2 Smash Bros. Got announced, how would you change Samus's moveset to reflect the new games since Ultimate? So I think like her dash is obviously going to be the flash shift from Metro Dread. I think that let's see what else could we change?
She has the side B is now her bike, like Wario bike. You could also maybe somehow do the control beam similar to Snake's Nikita missile.
Oh,
that could be kind of cool.
I wouldn't like that because I don't like that move.
Oh, that move is so good. It's so good.
I think that Samus's screw attack could use a little juice, but I don't know exactly what that is. The bombs could. I would actually change like the bomb to like be something more like do the psychic bomb where you could lay it and then throw it.
Do psychic bombs like and throw it. Yeah, and that's Snake's grenades. Look at that. You just turning her into Snake with Wario bike.
I like that one a little bit. Like you could almost like pick it up as an item and throw it. Like I feel like I like that a little bit more. I think like what I mean, what's from Dread that really like?
I mean, you got to do the slide. You got to do the slide.
Well, I sure, but like I mean, I don't know. That's.
I think. What else is even in Prime 4? I'm trying to keep this episode Prime 4 focused.
I was gonna say because if I did a Smash move set, I'd probably take more from Dread.
I'd be basing it off Dread heavily rather than Metroid Prime 4. Although I would love to see, like, I'd love to see the Dread suit in there. I'd like to see the Viola suit as well. Like, I think that would be a must. I do think that you want to integrate Viola somehow into that, even if it's just like she rides into battle on Viola and hops off. I think that'd be fine.
Give her Captain Falcon's final smash. He just crashes into someone with the Viola. They get like the huge ragdoll physics that you'll get if you like boost into someone in Soul Valley. I'd be down for that.
Okay. I've got a doozy of a question next from Joe. And actually, Joe asked like several really good questions, so I might just pick one or two, and if we have time, come back to them. But this first one, I think, is a big one. So, and I might even pause as we read it. So, question one. A week and a half after the 2025 September Nintendo Direct, where we first saw the desert and the Viola bike for the first time, I asked if you guys had any predictions what the level progression of the game was going to be like. I offered three options. Totally non-linear, linear with some deviations, and strictly linear. Those are the three. Both Andy and Doom were confident that a strictly linear experience was off the table. Oof.
Oof.
Oof. I don't celebrate that because I don't think you were there.
What?
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, but I didn't say that.
Well,
Okay.
you weren't there.
I didn't
okay?
say that. Okay, let's just put that down for the record. I did not say that.
You did not say that. Yes, we do have to acknowledge that. Now that Beyond is out, and it turned out to be a pretty linear experience in its level progression, despite how open and filled with possibilities the desert seemed to be, do you guys have any hope that Prime 5 will be any different? After almost 20 years, I thought this would evolve in some way, but now that we've had 4 linear Prime games, and the last 2 have been more direct in that regard, where would the Samus' percentage land on the likelihood of Prime 5 deviating from that design structure if you had to guess? And how would you feel if Prime 5 followed the same exact progression structure, similar to both Prime 3 and Prime 4? So I just want to start off and say, like, there's a big difference between Prime 3 and Prime 4. I think, like, a big difference. Like, that, the level design there in Prime 3, like, really masked, like, not masked, like, it was a different style of game, so I think that totally works for Prime 3, and it came out like immediately after Prime 2 and Prime 1, so like that felt welcome to me at the time, and I still enjoy it. Going backwards, can I speak for all of us in saying I feel like I would be very disappointed if Prime 5 followed the same blueprint as Prime 4. I think that's a safe...
Yeah, that would...
Yeah.
I think it's very apparent that we would all be very disappointed if that was the case.
Yes, so that I think is a no-brainer. I am actually, and maybe it's just a case of like I'm a fool here, but like I feel like they're going to switch things up for Prime 5 because I feel like they wanted to do it for Prime 4, but they just couldn't do it for whatever reason. But I feel like if let's just call it the open world, I feel like if that's something that they really want to explore, like Prime 5 makes sense to me to like just go all in and actually do it. And maybe it's just like you just need big areas like that could be what your open world game is. But I do have a sense of optimism. I think like generally Nintendo is, you know, like receptive to criticism about some of their games and trying to change things that don't necessarily work. I think that like I do have optimism about Prime 5. It is very disappointing that Prime 4 just came out and we're just talking like, oh well, Prime 5 has to be the game that really changes and evolves Metroid Prime. But I do feel better about the potential sequel now that like the all the baggage from the Prime 4 development is out of the way. You can just focus on Switch 2.
Yes.
Maybe I'm being a fool, Doom. What do you think?
I don't know if optimism is the right word, but I would say like you know what, I can, especially after the Famitsu interview, like I can see why a lot of these messier gameplay decisions were made. Obviously there's quite a few baffling omissions that we spoke about in the last episode, but I think there's a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, you know what, this makes sense why this was a mess. And it feels like in some of these regards, especially in regards to like the open hub area, there's almost kind of like an admission that like, yeah, we kind of missed the mark in that regard. And so at the very least, I do think that, you know, a lot of, you know, like Tanabe, a lot of the producers, that Retro is taking the criticisms that people have to Prime 4 to heart. And so in that sense, I'm hopeful that at least Prime 5 is going to address some of that. How successful that's going to be, I'm purposely not going to get my hopes up at the moment because I don't want to overhype it. I want to keep my my expectations grounded. Really, the only thing kind of that I'm definitively concerned about moving forward is like storytelling. That seems to be something, according to that Famitsu interview, that just is not in the interest of Nintendo at the moment. And so I've just kind of accepted that. But in terms of like the gameplay, which is what this question is addressing,
Yeah.
I would say hopeful that it's at least going to be addressed.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I do think that there's something to be said about the game not having the baggage of the Prime 4 development. I think you might even be able to say that the story was very much affected by that, even though clearly they don't have a right trajectory on what they want to do with the story. I almost feel like there are certain aspects of it that are just as much affected by the development cycle as the actual gameplay and level design was. So I do feel cautiously optimistic about it. I think without having the combination of not having that development, I think having a better foundation for the game, I think seeing the feedback, I have to think that they're going to really try to bring out all the stops and whatnot.
Yeah.
But cautiously, because there are still things from that interview that just tell me like their direction and their philosophy behind developing the game is maybe not what I'm looking for still. But I hope that a game that is made just for the Switch 2 is something that, doesn't take a billion years to make, will fundamentally make a better game, more enjoyable game. So I am cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, and Joe's got a lot of other really great questions here that I actually think could probably just be full podcast episodes, because there's a lot of meat on that bone, so we might have to come and revisit those. So let's just move on, but I do want to just say, like, well, I do want to touch on some of the questions that you asked, so stay tuned. Stalord the Great is asking, what song from the game was the most enjoyable to listen to? The Soul Valley song, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the one that plays on the radio. We're not doing that again.
Honestly, I still can't even think about a single song that I enjoy from the game. I think the only one I probably would say I enjoyed is the main menu themes, maybe, like that play on the title screen. Those were good. Those got me pumped for the game before I started it. I can't think of anything else. Maybe the Sylux theme. Everything else blurs together, did not stand out to me, or I did not enjoy.
Oh, you're a liar. There is one song I know that stood out to you. And that
Which one?
Is the rock and roll opera of Volt Forge.
I mean, okay, yes, that did stand out to me, but I think the more I listened to it, the more it was like too much.
It was a little bit much, yeah.
I think that maybe the execution of it was not the best. I wouldn't say it's something that like I go back and listen to old Metroid OSTs and songs and whatnot, and much like Dread, I probably won't ever do that for this game.
I definitely don't agree that I'm mixed, because like on one hand I definitely am not as down on the soundtrack as you are, Dak, but also I feel like a lot of people are going like, oh my god, this is like one of the greatest Metroid soundtracks ever, and I definitely don't agree with that either. No. I feel like for me, and we'll probably discuss this once we inevitably do our definitive ranking of Metroid Prime 4 whenever that happens, but I feel like for me, after Ice Spell, the game's soundtrack just kind of falls flat. Like, it's really strong in the first half, and then the second half I think is quite a bit weaker. Substantially stronger than Metroid Dread, though. I would definitely say this is probably my favorite Metroid soundtrack since Metroid Prime 3 at the very least. My favorite track, I'm pretty sure I already talked about this, but not the main Volt Forge theme, but the generator activate, when you activate the generators, that theme that plays, that's hands down my favorite piece of music in the game. I also obviously Fury Green is another understandably popular pick. I really like that. I'm also gonna go with the Omega Griever boss theme, because again, that just feels like classic Metroid Prime music right there. I love that Omega Griever theme.
I'm probably gonna go with Volt Forge. I agree with you, Doom. Like I think the music is good. I think of the 4 Metroid Prime games, though, it's definitely the weakest OST, and I think it doesn't like even like I think like Metroid Prime obviously has like a ton of really standout tracks, like some of the most iconic in the series. I think like Sanctuary Fortress and Torvus Bog and the main menu and Dark Samus from Metroid Prime 2 are like really exciting. Even Metroid Prime 3 like has Skytown, has maybe Skytown is the really only like big heavy hitter. I just don't feel like this game has like a big heavy hitter. I feel like the music is like fairly solid, but Volt Forge is probably the standout. I think the Sylux boss battle theme is like pretty decent, and the main menu theme is cool too. But yeah, nothing that I put down my controller was like, wow, like listen to this necessarily. I might even say I think that Dread soundtrack is slightly better than this.
No, absolutely not. I will. I
Yeah.
will. I will fight you on that.
I think like the Ferenia track is really good. I think that the Arteria track is really good. Part of me wonders if I like the Dairon track so much because like Dak hates it, but like
This is a
I
race
like
to the
that.
bottom. Both of the soundtracks suck, but I think if I had to pick one, I would pick Prime 4's. However, both of them are worse than Other M's. Boom.
I definitely won't agree.
Easy.
I don't
Other
agree
M's
with that
OST
either. No.
is definitely better than both of theirs,
No.
and I will. You can. Yeah.
You might as well just say Federation Force has a better one too while you're at it.
Honestly, it probably does. I
Oh
bet
my
you if I went back and listened to it, I'd be like, yeah, this actually has some bangers.
I can't actually say though. Like, there are some parts of that soundtrack that are pretty good, but
Yeah, exactly.
not as good. Okay, let's move on and let's go to, you know what? Let's go to Big Griff and let's put our speculating hats on here, guys. If Prime 4 was to receive some sort of story DLC, what would you want it to be about? If it tries to change aspects of the base game story, what would it need to do to improve or fix the low/bad parts? This could be a whole episode unto itself.
I don't think we could I mean, there would be way too much for us to be like, yeah, the DLC could fix this and this. Now we'd be here all night. So I would say,
what? I've got an answer actually. I've got a quick answer.
okay.
I think if you were going to do story DLC, the only thing that would excite me is playing as Sylux, going around to these areas and somehow Metroiding these bosses. That's the only thing that would slightly get my juices flowing.
Yeah, I think it would be fun if I could play as Sylux. I think it would be that, or maybe getting to play as the Federation troopers, kind of doing like an ODST thing and being like, what were they like when they got I mean, clearly, even Miles is kind of out there by himself for a little bit before Samus comes across him. I wouldn't be against like a chapter-based DLC where you kind of play as all the different Federation troopers and like what they were doing or what they had to deal with before Samus showed up. Like that could be, I would be mildly interested in that. I think playing as Sylux would be more fun, but from a story perspective, I would maybe be more interested in like a ODST style, like Federation trooper mini story anthology thing of seeing what they were up to before Samus, found them. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think the Sylux idea, particularly like maybe, and I don't know, maybe if Prime 5 is going to continue Prime 4's story, which I'm not really convinced that it is, but like maybe you have the Sylux DLC that takes place directly when the game ends, and it kind of goes from Sylux's point of view on him now trying to escape Viros after he's kind of stranded with all the other Federation troopers and. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm envisioning, at least.
I think the consensus is like you just need something totally different to like give this a shot in the arm, like when you're at the hospital and they shock your chest with something, like that's what this game needs. If it gets DLC, which I think we're all kind of saying like it shouldn't. But,
right.
Okay, let's answer a couple questions from Harky Man. He's got like a ton of questions. I'm sorry, we're not gonna have enough time for all of them here, but here let's take this one. Did the Lemorn imbue Sylux with the final boss fight abilities, or were they caused by the teleportation device incident? So basically, he's asking if that pod gave Sylux the dragon heads, and I think like the answer is clearly yes.
Oh.
Like he's got those like.
I think they say that in the
machines,
game
right?
that when he's in the pod, he gets access to the nano machines that like I think help heal him, and then he uses them or something. I think it directly says that.
How about this?
Yeah.
If Prime 5 builds off Prime 4, what plot beats do you see them carrying over? None! Because there are no plot beats.
Yeah, I would say none. I mean, I have to imagine that. Okay, I know some people seem very convinced that Sylux and the troopers are dead, but to me, we did not explicitly see them die on screen. So, as far as I'm concerned, they are absolutely on the table to return. I wouldn't even be surprised if we either go back to Vuros or Sylux somehow opens the transporter dimensional thing again, and somehow the Federation troopers are pulled. Like, here's what I could totally see. I could see Samus is flying around one day, and then she gets an SOS signal, and it's from this planet, and she finds out that it's from the Federation troopers, and they got pulled through a portal because Sylux opened it, and they got sucked through as well, and now they have to go find Sylux, who's running around this planet this time. Like, I could 100% see that being the plot of it. So, to me, it's like, I don't think we're seeing that tree or the Lemorne stuff again. That's done. But I do think... Nor do I care to see it, yeah. But I do think we will see Sylux and the Federation troopers again because they did not explicitly die on screen.
I agree. Unfortunately or unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, of the possibility, I feel like Sylux is the most likely to return. But again, I could also totally see Prime 5 just completely wiping the slate clean and starting from scratch because technically the ending's open-ended enough to where... Obviously, it's not satisfying, but you also don't really need to follow up on that if you're doing a Prime 5. So I could kind of see them going either way on whether or not they want to bring Sylux back, but I would think he would be number one. I don't see them doing the Lemorne. It would be cool if they kind of linked it to Prime, but at this case, it's kind of a too little too late thing. I'd rather them just never mention the Lemorne ever again at this point.
I'm with you, man. Just too dry, too boring, too... Yeah. Okay, let's do we got a ton more questions here. I'm sorry guys. Let's do two about Sylux here because I think these are interesting. The first is from Big Griff. Why do you want/expect Sylux to have some sort of complex and or compelling motivation for why he hates Samus and the Federation? Metroid villains have never really been complex or deep, but they don't need to be. Not trying to justify or validate the reasons we were given, this is coming from someone who is never a big fan of Sylux. His Prime 4 fights are cool, at least. So my answer to you, Big Griff, is because, like, you are correct. Metroid villains have never been really that in-depth or fleshed-out characters, which is why I think it was such a breath of fresh air and there was so much excitement about Sylux, because there was opportunity for that character to be the first of his kind, really. You look at like Dark Samus and Mother Brain, and even Ridley, like those are great bosses, but they're kind of like monster force of nature style bosses, where Sylux really had the potential to tell like a compelling story. And like I think that like, yeah, it's kind of like we were talking about with the level design. Like having one linear level, like the Great Minds, is totally fine, but when you have an entire game of them, it gets a little bit repetitive. And when you have a series like Metroid that's turning 40 years old this year, which is arguably never really had like a great three-dimensional villain, except for maybe MB.
Or Ravenbeak. Maybe Ravenbeak.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe Ravenbeak. But I like that. That's why people were so excited about Sylux, and I mean, and it's the mystery of the reason why as well. So like,
yes, that's the big thing. Is that like,
yeah,
Sylux?
Exactly.
It's like we've been waiting to find out. Like, I think it's because Sylux was so like specifically had a grudge. It wasn't just Sylux was a bad guy. It was like Sylux always has a specific reason. We want to know that reason. I want to know. Yeah. And I also think, no offense to Griff, I think it's a funny question to be like, why would you want a compelling backstory for a character? Because I would like to be compelled. I would like to be entertained by the game I'm playing, you know, God forbid, right? So I think like you give me all this build up, some of it from the game, some of it from the fandom, to be fair. But as someone who is a big Hunters fan, who I loved, like, okay, we finally expanded the universe a little bit with some new characters, some new species, some new races, blah, blah, blah. And we have this one particular character who is, for whatever reason, super, super locked in on having a grudge on Samus and the Federation specifically, which, by the way, is unique as far as we know for characters. I wanted to know the reason. I wanted a compelling reason. I think that's super reasonable. If he was just a monster, just some beast, you know, creature of the week, I'd be like, okay, fine. I don't really need to know too much. But I think, like, especially because the game goes out of its way to try to, I mean, the game starts with like, you know, Sylux is a bad guy. It's like Sylux always has a specific reason. We want to know that reason. I think like you give me all this build up, some of it from the game, some of it from the fandom, to be fair. But as someone who is a big Hunters fan, who I loved, like, okay, we finally expanded the universe a little bit with some new characters, some new species, some new races, blah, blah, blah. And we have this one particular character who is, for whatever reason, super, super locked in on having a grudge on Samus and the Federation specifically, which, by the way, is unique as far as we know for characters. I think that's super reasonable. If he was just a monster, just some beast, you know, creature of the week, I'd be like, okay, fine. I don't really need to know too much. But I think like you Sylux is Samus's arch nemesis, which is not even true. It's like the game is also setting you up to have these expectations, which is, for the player, of course you're going to expect something compelling. Why wouldn't you? The game is telling you that there's going to be a compelling reason, and then there isn't.
I don't think complex is even the right word. I think satisfying is the
Yeah, it
word
didn't
that I
need to
would
be
want to use
complex.
for.
It needed to be
Yeah.
satisfying and compelling. It did not need to be complex.
Yeah, because I don't think like especially from a Nintendo game, I don't think anyone was expecting, Sylux to have, this kind of moral gray area or this kind of like anti-hero the kind of like I don't think anyone was expecting like a complex three-dimensional character that you were supposed to like relate to on some degree. I think people just wanted to be like satisfied after waiting for 18 years because that's basically like what it is right there. Typically when an antagonist is introduced in a Metroid game, they're either like a legacy antagonist that's like, like Ridley, who's been there since the NES days, or they're a brand new one that's just introduced in that game, or they're like a boss fight that isn't really an antagonist or doesn't have like a deep history with Samus. This is one of the rare examples where, it is like a legacy character that we don't know a lot about. Ridley, we pretty much already know everything we need to know about him. He killed Samus's parents. Samus has a good reason to hate him. Sylux hates Samus, but we don't have that reason. And for 18 years, we've had a lot of fan speculation. And from the marketing of this game, it seemed like that was going to be a major point of that game. And to a degree it was. It's just the answer was really sucked and didn't really live up to those expectations. That's more so the problem than Sylux. Yeah, exactly. I'm right, using the word answer very loosely here, but you know what I mean.
And I think like they didn't really have to do too much. I mean, throughout my like whole life for Sylux, I figured, okay, he lived on a planet, the Federation did something messed up, and now he hates him. Like, that would have been fine, like, if it was compelling. Yeah. Even in this game, they're so close to getting it. Like, they could have easily had been like, Sylux was a great soldier in the Federation forces. The Federation forces sent him and his troops to die and screw him over. Now he has this grudge. They could have done that with what they did in this, what they had in this game, and and if they just built on it more and really dug into that, but they don't even do that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of expectations. I think it's also what the game sets up. It's what the players expected. And yeah, the character was kind of in the middle of like being a legacy character, but not really knowing anything about him and having this kind of, I mean, the character literally has been always described as having a mysterious background that we've been waiting to hear about. Even the other hunters in that game that he's introduced have pretty clear-cut backgrounds in hunters. It's really Sylux who's the one who has the mysterious background. So of course we're going to be expecting some compelling mystery behind it to be resolved.
Here's another point too, and this is probably more of like a fan theory thing, but like in the Metroid Prime series, like the Galactic Federation is played pretty straight. Like they're good guys. In the 2D Metroid series, it's much more ambiguous. So this was kind of like a cool, pseudo link between those two, I guess, series as well, or it could have been. So there was a lot of potential there for Sylux, which actually bleeds right over into our next question from Delta Bolster. Would Prime 4 be better off if it didn't promise to have and pay off the Sylux foreshadowing? I mean, like, I guess, like, did it promise to do that? No. Did everybody expect it based off the game's marketing? Yes. So my answer is actually yes. Like, I think it would have been better if Sylux was teased at the beginning. You just went to Vuros and you fought just like, instead of Sylux and Metroid's random monsters, and like maybe your end credit is like Sylux appears. I actually think that would have been more satisfying than what we got.
It would have been better. I still think.
Yeah, I still don't think it would have been. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't say I think it would be that satisfying, but it would have been more satisfying.
Yeah, it would have been better asterisk, but I still don't think it would have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been satisfying still, because at the end of the day, we've been waiting for this game to talk about Sylux, and if we still didn't have any answers, even if we didn't have bad ones, that still would have been a letdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would basically be like the situation Dak and I was in Metroid Dread. It would be like really this long, and we're still not addressing the Federation. It would kind of be like that, but for Metroid.
Yeah, it would be essentially the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do like two more questions, and then sorry guys, we got to cut it off here, but This is I think a really interesting follow-up question from Delta Bolster. Have they already shown us too much of who Sylux is for him to still be interesting?
Oh, well, they've shown not enough, and what they have shown has made him uninteresting. Is the answer? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they definitely haven't shown us enough, but maybe like Am I interested in seeing more of Sylux? Yeah, I guess I still am. I guess like I still want to pay off. There has to be more to that story. There has to be more to that grudge. But I guess I'm just kind of sitting here, just like, oof. Like if this is what 18 years got us story wise, I'm just not holding my breath. Like I think Doom, you said it a couple episodes ago. They did the unthinkable and they made Sylux uncool. And that's kind of what it boils down to. Is like he's not that cool anymore, and I'm just like I don't know. Like if it's between like somehow like just for no reason whatsoever Ridley is revived or we continue the Sylux plot, like I think I'm going with Ridley. Like and you know what? At least like at least if it doesn't make sense plot wise, like whatever. At least it's gonna be cool, you know.
Yeah, at least here's the thing. Here's the thing, I know you're freaking out because you're like, oh my god, don't mess up Ridley.
Yes,
and here's the thing.
Please don't bring Ridley back now. Oh my god, no, please.
and here's the thing: is there a way that they could mess up Ridley? Absolutely, sure. I mean, look at Other M, but like at its face, like you could just bring Ridley back for a boss battle and just leave it.
Yeah,
and just leave it at that. Like it's really not that complex for Ridley.
With Sylux, I feel. Yeah, go ahead.
With Sylux, I feel like, if you are going to bring him back, you do have to follow up more on the story things. And again, going back to that Famitsu interview, it's clear that when it comes to the story, clearly the development team has no idea what they want out of that story. Are we supposed to care about the story? Are we not supposed to care about the story? Who knows? Who cares anyways? So, yeah. So to go back to Sylux at this point, like I'm indifferent on whether or not they bring him back because Prime 4. I don't know. When I think of Sylux, I'm gonna think of like the Prime Hunter's aura of Sylux because that's my Sylux. Although his design in Prime 4 is still really cool. But yeah.
I think his Prime 4 design is sick.
Yeah.
I think at this point, just do everything, do new stuff. Don't tarnish anything else from previous games. Don't bring back Ridley. Don't bring back Sylux. Don't bring back the other hunters. Don't bring back Dark Samus. Don't bring back Admiral Dane. Don't bring back Anthony because somehow they're gonna figure out how to make them uncool and uninteresting. Which to me is like. I don't know. From the interview, they had this feeling of like, oh, we're like almost felt like constrained a little bit by previous stuff, which to me, in a creative sense, constraints help breed creativity. So the fact that they somehow can't build something cool out of what's already been established, to me, is very worrying that they're going to do things to other aspects of the series that I enjoy. So at this point, please just come up with completely new characters, new setting, new story. Don't bring anything back. Because at least you wouldn't be able to ruin things I enjoy about the games from previous iterations of the franchise.
I do agree with Doom. Like I think like as we just talked about, like Sylux needs more of a character build up, like where like Ridley you could just literally just bring back and plop in and like that's fine. But like I kind of agree with you too, Dak, where it's like until I see it, like after this game, like I don't know, man. I need to see like something good story-wise to really get my confidence back up. I know I said only one more question, but I'm so sorry. This ties into it too, so let's just answer quickly from Saint Ridley. Does Metroid Prime 4 make y'all feel like the time spent teasing Sylux as a major antagonist since corruption was a waste? Yeah, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, which is really unfortunate because, like, I think like Sylux had the potential to be maybe the greatest Metroid villain. Like, maybe aside from Ridley. And he certainly feels like anything but.
Yeah, I agree.
I think to be honest, the first time I saw Sylux turn into that Cybot after the first fight, I was just like, "Oh, that's odd," and I think that gave me like some warning. My Spidey senses were going off, and I'm like, I'm sure they'll pay this off, and they just don't, and it just never got better. Never got better. Okay, let's end it on this Tuesday. Or sorry, Doom. Yeah. Did I cut you off? Okay, I'm sorry. All right, let's end it on this one last one here. Okay, and then we'll get out of here. This is from Cap. Apologies if this comes off wrong. Let me first say that I'm absolutely not trying to incite a witch hunt. That said, This isn't about some culture difference or saying that certain individuals aren't skilled enough to lead a Metroid Prime team, but I also feel this sense of unease over the future of the series after that interview. And I'm wondering if the only way to really reignite it is with a new sense of passion, or excuse me, I'm wondering if the only way to reignite it with a new sense of passion is to put it under new direction. So is it time for new leadership? If so, do you have any ideas? Because sadly, I don't. I think we should work backwards.
Theoretically.
From that. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, so theoretically, Tanabe is in like his 60s now, so he's probably like fairly close to retiring. Granted,
Miyamoto's like almost in his 80s.
But you know, theoretically speaking, you know, Tanabe's reaching normal retirement age, and you know his protege is Risa Tabata, who's also been like a co-producer throughout the Metroid Prime series, and I believe she was lead producer on the Thousand Year Door remake. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that would be theoretically who would be leading a Metroid Prime game if Tanabe were to retire. And so I don't know, maybe that could be a new direction the game takes. Again, as for me, really my only big concern moving forward is kind of like the story and the narrative of Metroid. That's one thing where I'm just really not confident in the direction that we're going in, but otherwise I don't necessarily think a leadership change. It feels like there was a lot of things that went wrong beyond just leadership when it came to Metroid Prime 4 from a strictly game design perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I think we go back to, because I'm still not willing to throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, here, because I do think that like Retro Studios as a development team was given a harsh deal with what they had to pick up with the game. But so part of me wants to be like, just get rid of everybody. But I don't want to do that, at least to the actual development team, because I don't think they've really been able to prove themselves from start to finish. But leadership wise, yeah, absolutely. I do not feel confident with who's running the show at the moment. I would totally be fine with cleaning house with that. I think the ambivalence and the carelessness that I feel from this game is frustrating, because I think, not that we're game devs, but like, man, like it does, like I feel like we have more passion for Metroid than the people making the game. And that is not a fun feeling, I think. It feels like people who are making the game are like not Metroid fans, don't live and breathe Metroid. Not saying that like even necessarily I do, but like, man, like I would love it if there was some kind of real like confidence instilled in like, yeah, like we're gonna make the best Metroid game we can. Like, not for nothing, like I know it's not like game development is a very cushy or pleasant or amazing job to have, but I mean, you're getting to work on Metroid games. You get to work on a new Metroid Prime game. Like there's something to be said about that. Not everybody gets to do that, and when it kind of feels like they treat it like any other game or like any other job, which may or may not be true, but that's the feeling I got. It is disappointing, and I wish there was a bit more of a core philosophy to really make the best Metroid game possible, and maybe that's what they truly believe they are doing. And if that's the case, that's maybe even worse. So I still feel like leadership-wise, yes, I would love to see maybe a change of the guard. We're probably not going to get it, but at least from the overall development team, I'm still willing to give them another chance.
Yeah.
At the very least, keep the artist there. The artist clearly still got it.
The game looks great, yes. Whoever made the game look awesome.
The game looks great, and it plays great, to be fair.
I don't agree with that, but yes.
Well, here's my, like, I think that Retro Studios has enough goodwill in the bank that they should get another kick at it. But I think that rope is short. You know, like that's you made a really disappointing game that let down. I mean, I think I told you guys, my cousin got this game for Christmas, and my cousin plays like 3 video games a year, right? And he was just like, yeah, this game isn't like that great. And obviously, like, he's a very casual video game fan, and we're diehards, and like everybody that I've talked to is on the same page. Like, there's not a single person that I have talked to that's like, man, Metroid Prime 4 was like the best game that came out last year. Not even like close. So I think that the leash is short. I think I would say the same thing about Tanabe, and I guess at this point it's like this is where it's just like, okay, how much of the story direction is coming from like Nintendo high up and how much of it is created by him and his team, because I think that matters. And like he has done some good Metroid projects before, and I guess I'm also kind of like, if he goes, like, is whoever is coming in going to be any better? Because like I feel like in the last couple of years, like for me, like one thing I value really strongly in video games is story, because there's a lot of really great video games out there, right? But like the ones that really compel you have a narrative, and it doesn't have to be super complex. It can be super simple. But like ones that just have kind of like something that resonates with you inside. Like, and I feel like only a story can really do that. So like Nintendo, I feel like has just, in their mission to make everything so accessible to new players or everything like that, I feel like has really watered down that in the Switch era. And I'm not sure if like anyone coming in is necessarily going to do a better job than Tanabe would at the top. Now I'm actually like and I'm kind of going back and forth here. Like I would be totally fine if like it's like a sports team. Like sometimes you just need a coaching change, you know? So like, is it time for that change here? It could be, but I would also be like cautious about that, because like you might just be losing like a big champion for Metroid, and like it's actually swing the other way, where like the story is even less of an emphasis and the level design is even more just like kind of hallways like that. So without more information, I'm not sure, but I'm not against it like either necessarily.
That's the big key there, is that like we don't really have enough information. Granted, as we're also not in control of it, so like who cares? But like we also don't have enough information to definitively, because like I have no idea who's responsible for like the story and the narrative of Metroid Prime 4. I would imagine that like that was NCL or some of the leadership at Retro who like put across at least the general bullet points, but I genuinely have no idea, and so it's really hard to say. That would be my first course of addressing, and I really don't know at the end of the day who's responsible for that.
You know what? I think at the end of the day, it's just like there's a lot of baggage to this game development, and I'd like to give the whole team, the opportunity to make a Metroid Prime game that is a clean slate from the beginning. I do think that there are elements of Metroid Prime 4 that you can even build upon in future games. Like, I don't think that this game should be a total wash, but like, if Metroid Prime 5 comes out and it stinks, like, that's it. You know, like, if I'm the GM, I'm firing my coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree. Andy, I know you said we're going to wrap this up, but could we maybe get like one last fun or positive question? Because I feel like we had such a dour ending to the episode. We need one something fun. Come on, Andy, you can do it. You can do it, man.
Stall for me, okay? Stall for me.
We can find one. I think.
Can we talk about Halo again, please, for a minute?
No, because that franchise also makes me sad. Why all of my favorite franchises from as a kid are being ruined? I can't take it anymore. I can't do it anymore.
Ooh.
And you got to give us something. Yeah, I know. I'll start digging. We need a fun question to wrap up the show. Let everyone dive in.
You know what?
While he's looking, oh no, hold on. You might have something.
I've got. So at the start of the show, we started off with Connor, okay, and I said I wasn't going to read the rest of his question. And when I read this question, you're going to immediately understand why I did not read it. But you asked for this, so here we go. One final question, and this is by far the most important. When does Samus use the bathroom? The games are hours long, and at no point does Samus ever do anything. Holding it in for hours would not be possible, and that would lead to complications that would prevent Samus. This is a long question. Like,
I think we've gotten the gist of it there, though. I think we understand what they're getting at.
Hold on. Is the power suit a toilet? Is part of this question. I have to believe that yes, it is actually. Like, there's got to be.
I mean, I believe.
So.
Aren't there specific NASA astronaut suits that like have like built-in like restroom dispensers in them as well?
That makes sense.
I feel like the power suit could also work that way. I'm not gonna read out this other question, but it reminds me of a certain other kind of meme question that people have asked about Master Chief's suit. You can Google that if you want. I'm not going to.
Everybody knows what you're talking about
on this podcast.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I say here's what I think. I think it's two options. One, that's part of Samus's ammo If she's loading up those bad boys and deploying them,
Where do you think power bombs come from?
What do you think those power bombs are? That's what I think. Or
that's why they're so devastating.
Well, I do think that when she, like in games like Prime 3, like she's going on the ship, you know? Like or like anytime you go back to your ship on Fusion, she's going on the ship. I also think in Prime 4, you know when you're like shooting yourself from like an area back to the desert using that big thing?
Yeah.
Like she's like airplane dumping in the air, you know, like dropping the whole thing.
Look,
like, you
it's
don't
more
see
green
it,
energy. Like, wait a second.
Exactly, that's the green energy. It's the brown energy. That's she's dropping some brown energy.
I was about to say the green energy. That's Sylux's bombs right there.
Oh
yeah,
God.
I think that's what's happening. I think she's like taking a time to just drop a load.
Yeah, maybe that's the DLC that we need for Metroid Prime 4. The behind the scenes
you're right.
look.
Now we're talking. Now I'll play the game again.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to all of them. There's a few that I'd really like to dig into for just future episodes, so we'll definitely try and get back to those. But yeah, that's all we could do for today. So thank you, everybody. We are going to get out of here, so please make sure that you are checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Go like and subscribe and recommend and rate and review, all that kind of good stuff. And hey, you know what? If you want more Omega Metroid, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/SPNet. You got more bonus shows there. Gooey Plays Metroid. We just actually recorded our own episode on Metroid Prime 4. There is the Great Metroid Area Ranking. There is ROM hack reviews. There's a ton of Zelda stuff, ton of other stuff in general, like wrestling and albums and music and comics, all sorts of stuff. So check it out if you are interested in having some more content coming your way. Also check out OmegaMetroid.com. We've got the latest, we've got guides for this game. We've got guides for pretty much every game. We've got the latest news, thought pieces, you name it, it's there. Our YouTube has these podcasts in full video form if you want to see our smiling faces as we rejoice in talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And lastly, we have give us a follow over on Blue Sky. Check us out. We are at Omega Metroid, at Spiteri316, at Doom Lacrosse, at Dax City. That, my friends, is going to do it for us. So until next week, everybody, take care, and please be sure to tune into Metroid HQ-Con this coming 14th to the 18th. Check me out on Sunday. Hope to see some of you there. Till then, my friends, ciao.